Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
And let's welcome today's speaker, LILA.
My name is LILA, and I'm an alcoholic. I'm delighted to be here. I love coming every few years to speak at this meeting, and the few other times that I lack the selfishness to get out of bed on Sunday morning and give up the newspapers to come and hear a few other people talk. I'll be here next Sunday. My favorite speaker in AA is speaking. It's a surprise. You know, it's very hard at this meeting because it's such a high-energy meeting. I love the beginning with the birthdays. Everybody says something that, well, now that I've learned to listen, I actually hear a few things that make sense, you know, and I really just want to share a bunch of things and just talk about life and all of it, you know, and I'm having a tremendous year, and I thought, well, I'll just ruin their day by telling them how great it is, but the fact of the matter is I have a responsibility since it is a workshop, and I really I appreciate that, and I appreciate the workshop format, and I think that it requires me to focus and pay attention to that, so that is what I will do, so that you can ask some interesting questions. It's my favorite format. It's a little more challenging for me, you know. Every now and then you get a question that really, you know, you have to think about. Okay, so, because it's a workshop, let me just get all the statistics out of the way. I'm 44 years sober. I'm in my 60s. Frankly, I'm thrilled about that. I liked the birthday guy that said that, you know, the process is in the big book. How to do it is in the 12 and 12. And then the sharing about the experiences of that is between us. And then the regrettable part about the steps for me, since it's a workshop, is the practice that we individually have to have, because no one can do the steps for you. And doesn't it get down to that? That we talk about it so that I can change. And if I hadn't changed over the years, I don't know. I've met some people that I don't think have changed, actually, and wouldn't want that existence. I know I've changed. Now, not because things on the outside have gotten bad or not or good. That's a very big myth in AA that has always annoyed me, really, that the longer you're sober, the better it gets in the road, whatever it does. That's not true. For as long as I am on this planet, I know one thing for sure, that the tide will come in and the tide will go out. And if I'm going to judge anything about how I feel based on what happens to me on the outside, well, then I have learned absolutely nothing but to stay dry and come in and play the personality game in Alcoholics Anonymous. And you know, that's just not enough for me. Never has been. You know, I'm struck with, you know, what means something for me to come to this room is that I see people that have been on this path with me for all of these 4+ decades. And I was mentioning to Phyllis earlier, and I saw Roz, of course, and other people, and I realized that, you know, Our social lives don't necessarily interact, although we could make that happen if we weren't, so busy with whatever we were doing. But there is a continuity to our walking the path that is so critically vital to the quality and the consistency of my sobriety. It is unexplainable until you have come to the day where you're standing in your own shoes, you're sober decades of time, and you're standing with someone that is sober decades of time, and you realize that all the things that have happened and all the people that have come into your life and gone out of your life and friends and now they've moved or whatever, and all the death that we have all experienced and all the grief that we have experienced and all the sadness that we have experienced and all the money we have made and all the money we have lost and all the money we have kept and whatever. The roller coaster of our lives. I can look at two people in this room for sure right now, and I can actually, inside of me, calmly for a change, feel the ups and the downs of my life. Now, thank God, somewhere in my 20s and 30s years of sobriety, I was able to sort of understand and get the message. It started when I was 18, actually, when AA was not enough for me. I just didn't know how I was going to be able to stay. And if you're new, there's 1,000 meetings you can go to. This is a workshop. There's a, percent to total, you're a small minority in the room at the moment. And I really want to talk to the people that are in those desert years, the years which were the most difficult for me. When I was new, I struggled through. There was 1,000 other newcomers. We had a great time. We had a difficult time, but what the hell, we did it together. We're in the same sandbox. Threw sand on each other, we broke all the rules, we did all the things you're not supposed to do, and we stay sober anyway, because if you're going to stay sober and you have any degree at all of what the disease you have is, then you're going to stay sober. If you were desperate, you're going to stay sober. If you have a sense of the fact that you have nowhere else to go, well, that helps a lot. One of the birthday people said that they wanted to stay for 30 days. Everybody's got a number. I had 3 weeks. Be careful. 3 weeks later, 44 years, bam, it's over. Could happen to you. How do you know you're a real alcoholic when you're sober this long? Because you stayed. Because you survived all these people. Why do you think they put the 8th and 9th step after all the other steps? So you're spiritually sound enough to get it. You're a real alcoholic because you have nowhere else to go. You go to AA and then all of a sudden you think, it's not that bad. How many times have I thought, it's not that bad? So, newcomers have a lot of attention. And as old-timers, we have a certain amount of respect that we receive. Really, honestly, it's nice, have our own seat in some meetings, expect to sit there. Try to not make faces, sigh, and do all the stuff you're not supposed to do, Jane said to me, you've become a sire in meetings. I said, what the hell are you talking about? She said, well, when somebody does something you don't like or says something you don't like, you go, sigh. She said, what maybe what you don't realize is, you project your sigh. Oh, Jesus, no, I can't even sigh in a meeting, The truth of the matter is I used to judge old-timers for sighing in meetings, You know what I found out? I found out that anything I've ever judged, I've ended up doing. Oh, God, it's frightening. Really, it is. Be careful, Jesus. It's really true. Unless you can rush through those steps and clean it up just before you end up doing it, you're going to do it. It's true. I've never been afraid not to tell the truth from the podium. It's the only place where I know that I absolutely have to tell the truth. I'm at risk with you out there. I'll say whatever, just to get rid of you sometimes. But the truth is, up here, I tell the truth. I have earned the right to feel exactly how I feel. Now, the good news is, for me, I blast off in AA about all these kind of things, and then I'll change my mind and realize I was completely off track for like 4 or 5 years. And I put it on all kinds of tapes all over the country, blah, 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 blah. And then I think, oh, God, that is not correct. Can't believe it took me that long to get that. Oh, my God, now I'm going to have to change this whole thing. But you know what? I do. Because I am just so simply grateful to be simply sober and still be on the planet and still be ambulatory and still be able to appreciate and love and be part of this ever-growing process of the steps in my life. If it weren't for the steps of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, I could not bear you. I was the kind of alcoholic that drank to be alone. I would have been happy on an island. I probably would have dismissed the monkeys. Don't even need them. And I'm not too different now, you know. Listen, the older you get, the more you kind of become your real self. And shockingly, it's a bit of everything, you know. It's a bit of my past self and my kind of current self, and then my self that's evolving. It's almost like a child and a parent and a grandparent. I'm becoming the grandparent to myself, and I'm sort of enjoying this oldness of it all, you know. I'm getting more old-fashioned. It's happening at a very accelerated pace for me, and I'm delighted about it. I like old-fashioned things. I like peace of mind. I like knowing that I can use the steps and that I have parameters within which I place myself, and I know how to do things to make my life easier, and I know how to make things be of service to me so that I can be of better service to you and to my fellows. I know how to use money so that it's of service to me. That wasn't always the case, but it doesn't matter, does it, really? I mean, I don't need to go through a litany of what was. You know, the myth is that things are up and down all the time, and you know, now I'm in a very comfortable place in my life, and we've had an extraordinary couple of years, but it followed after, 11 years of tremendous death and passing and loss and lawsuits and nonsense and craziness. And now here it is, the peaceful time when the waters are still. Now I have a choice. I can actually participate and help make those waters remain reasonably still despite what happens and what comes my way. I have come to know that I can survive anything. When you survive this much death, you will survive absolutely anything. And for the things that frighten me the most, and you know, I don't have very many fears, really. I can't even tell you. Frankly, I only have like maybe one fear left, and that is of falling. I don't want to fall down and hurt anything. Now, you would think I'd have a bunch more fears, wouldn't you? I don't. And yet a friend of mine this year fell down. Badly fell down. 43 years sober, one of the continuities on the path, fell down. If I have a slight other fear, less and less and less as I become more comfortable with the reality, is that I will have some very serious illness overcome me or some painful experience. A great friend of mine, another, I can't call them trees, energy on the path, the kind of energy where you stand in front of these people who have been here for decades and you know that from them you are getting strength that is absolutely indescribable and that it taps into your own strength and the combination of that is powerful. But you know, a friend of mine is 84 years of age and I thought, phenomenal! I can't wait to be 84 years of age. And yet I know the pain and the suffering that this woman has gone through. And I'm afraid. I'm afraid. You know why I'm mortally afraid of anything? I don't want to be under the influence of anything. And now I'm going to take medication if I have to medically take it, approved by 1 or 2 doctors, and distributed to me by people I completely trust on the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm lucky to live with a member of AA for many, many years, so that would be part of there would be a couple of people. I will be under the influence. I don't want to be under the influence. And the minute I'm under the influence of anything, I will be lack judgment. And there's one thing I love about my sobriety, and that is that I have sound judgment for the first time in my life. It's not based on what I think you think, or any of the other thinking. It's based on what do I think? What is the kind and compassionate thing to do? From me, my sense of kindness and my sense of compassion, as much as I can take. I don't know if this makes sense. I haven't spoken in a few months. We're out of the country more than we're in it now. And So it's been a while since I've spoken, and I kind of didn't want to talk because I'm going through this huge shift, and I know it. I know it. I know that I have spent perhaps maybe 75% of my life afraid of excitement, familiar with fear and difficulty and change and making it happen. And oh yes, I understand wanting the answer. I don't want the answer anymore. Christ, if I've had a problem, it's always getting the answer, looking for the answer. What the hell is the answer? And I get some of those answers, and oh, Jesus, now I have to have more answers to answer the problems associated with getting the answer. What a waste, really. One day I was going through, I don't know what I was doing, but I was looking at the steps and I realized, like you're powerless over pretty much everything, Lila, because you're a complete and absolute control freak. So when it's all said and done, you controlled your drinking so you could be a drunk. Thank God you controlled your wish to be sober so you could stay in AA. Congratulations on using your willpower in the appropriate manner. Now, perhaps what you need to do is have some control. Listen, to have no control would be stupid. Now, wouldn't it, really? I'd walk in front of the streetcar or something dumb. You have to have some control in your life. You have to pay your bills. You have to make sure your car is clean. You have to, put oil in it. You have to maintain your relationships. You have to use money to be of service to you and use it to pay your bills and give you peace of mind. And if you have something left over, enjoy it. So those are the things I control now. I'm not control freakish about them. I don't have that fear of financial insecurity that got me all the money I have today. Every problem has become an asset in its own way. I was successful because I was driven by fear. And I hurt a lot of people on the way. Oh, and it's such a I haven't worked for anybody or any company or anything else or with anybody else for 2 decades now. So I can finally say, don't ask me what I did, because it was over 2 decades ago, and I don't even remember the lifetime. I just know that I did a lot of destructive things and a lot of tremendous things. And what did I get out of it? That I'm a highly creative, intelligent, organized, interesting person. Great with creative people, could pretty much run anything I needed to run. But I haven't done any of that in 20 years, because I was so sick when I was doing that. Thank God I took a break. It was only going to be a short break, by the way. And then I was going to make millions and zillions of dollars and become a captain of industry that I was certainly capable of doing, in my own minds especially. Now it's a little more balanced because, then it was strictly ego-driven madness, and that works. I took a break. I went to Ireland to grieve the loss of my business and the disrespect of my partners and the lack of the vision. The vision that I refused to see, the disrespect that I equally participated in, and the madness that we all participated in that caused really the ruination of the business, but I didn't see it that way for 10 years. Oh, such value comes from these things. And now I'm, what do you do for a living? People want an answer. Retired at 47. That's just not good enough. Okay, I manage my own portfolio. Now you're really screwed. Get all these phone calls. People want to know what to do with their money. Do you think I, for 1 second, would tell you what to do with your money? I am not that stupid. I really got the steps. I understand 8 and 9. I would never tell you what to do with your money. I'm just so conservative and so understanding and so grateful to have what I have that I use it in balance and appropriately. So I'm a control freak. And yet, in the same first step, I have to give up control. And so I have to decide what I control and what to not control, I control making tea and toast for Jane and I. I spend a lot of time doing it. I love making sure that the tea is brewed absolutely perfectly and that the toast is perfectly toasted. And that, the butter has a sound to it as it goes on. This sounds silly, right? But I have lived 44 years and 66 years on this planet to be able to do that and to take the time to do that. And that is very important to me. Now, that sounds crazy, but the day will come, maybe one day, you'll be making a good cup of tea, furious boil to the water, brew long enough, and you'll hear that scrape of the butter, and you'll think, Christ, this is what she was talking about. Could there be more than that? Not really. Not really. Because when I can stand in my kitchen for that 4 or 5 minutes and have the ritual of doing something that peaceful, that connects to my very, very soul, that connects to my heritage, that connects to Ireland, that connects to my grandmother's open fire in the cottage, that is why I'm here. That is why I work so hard to come to meetings, to stay regular on my program, to reach out my hand every now and then to the newcomers, to tolerate what I have to listen to sometimes, and to go through looking for and picking out the people that make me realize the vibration is sound, you are in the right place, thank God. So that's what I try to control. I try to control how to be in balance so that I can have more peace of mind, so that I can do more things that really constitute doing very little. Most Sundays I spend in bed. I get coffee in bed on Sunday morning. I watch all the crazy news things. I read 2 newspapers, and, I hang out in bed. Underline things, It's great. Do nothing. But on Monday, I'm up doing what I do. I don't owe any money to anybody. I don't owe anything to anybody. No one will ever knock on my door and say, you've got to go. I remember when I was sober 20 minutes and I had to declare bankruptcy because I had nothing. I took my car down to Bank of America because they told me, of course, it was a new car. Don't we all have new cars when we get drunk and sober and we don't have a penny? But anyway, grandiosity. In fact, I bought that car as soon as I got sober, so, it shows you all kinds of diseases in here, As long as you don't forget what your primary one is, I suppose you're all right. And I handed them back the keys and said, look, you got to take the car. I'm not going to stay sober. That's what they're telling me. You just got to take the car. They said, listen, that's not how you do this. I said, this is how I do it. I was told in AA, give you back the keys. Here's the keys. The car's in the parking lot. I got to go. Went to a meeting at 26 and Broadway. Everybody went, whoa, that's fantastic, Christ, they sued me for years over that thing. But it didn't matter. They got their car back, and I stayed sober. And, the beginning. You see, I know one thing for a fact. I know that if I drink again, I'm going to make that decision stone cold sober. Because you see, I am stone cold sober, just like you. So I have to be sure that I remember where I came from and where I would like to go. And where I would like to go is more peace. Where I would like to go is into the soul of my imagination of my grandmother and my grandmothers. Into their soul that I perceived. When I left Ireland, I imagined what they were like. I magnified it. Whether they were like that or not, I couldn't tell you. But I imagined that these women had such love and such care in their heart, and these cups of teas and these little trays with little sandwiches on them, and the little toast was cut off, and the crusts were cut off, and all this comfort and love. Oh, God, it meant everything to me. And when I drank, I was maudlin over such things. And the longer I'm sober, the longer I crave that peace and little sandwiches with the crust cut off and little trays and little things, Well, we got rid of the doilies. Okay, we've upgraded to linen with, I don't know, whatever. But it's the same idea. Now, I've had something happen to me this year. It's going to take me right down to the 12th step because I have learned how to balance that control somewhat. And I believe that when I am out of balance, it is because I'm controlling one thing a little too much and that I need to tune in with God. So I go to the 3rd step and I make a decision to say, look, I don't want to do this by myself. I'll step back a little bit. Can you help me? And automatically I know some big giant voice like grandmothers come out of the sky gently and they say, look, what the hell's in the way, Lila? Because if you cast a shadow, you cast a shadow on your own light. So what the hell are you doing? Whoa, somebody just showed up. Did you feel that energy? I got it anyway. So there they are, telling me something's in the way. And so the 4th step has to be done, and maybe it has to be done more than once a year. I'm sick of these idiots to say they only do it once. Where'd you get that? It's a lifetime process, it says. Whenever you need it the most. If I do something over and over and over again, I have to do a 4th step. It's not 10. It's chronic. Do it again. So I look at what do I put in the way? And then I'm not telling the truth to myself half the time because I don't know the difference between the truth and the false most of the time. Oh, I do know. It's hard to say these things now. I mean, just say it for an educational conversation because I kind of do know most of the time. I don't going to diminish myself anymore by saying, I don't know. I do know. I know pretty fast because it feels wrong. But that's another story, and you have to wait for that to happen to you. after you practice years of the education of variety. So I look at 4 and I say, what's in the way? And I talk to somebody so I can tell the truth. And I have a secret keeper, a person that I've talked to for all of these years, a secret keeper, a sponsor who can keep a secret. If I can't find that person, I can find somebody else that I know will keep my secret and that I can talk to. And that's at some level that understands me and I understand them. They're not going to tell me what to do. They're just going to say, oh. So, I'm so fearful about this Irish thing that's coming up, blah, 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 blah. I'm totally full of fear and I can't get excited. And excitement's been my big problem in my life. And somebody with 40 years assists me and I say, look, come over here, Lila, sit down with me for a minute. She puts her hand on her leg and she said, listen, I know you know this. She said, but you might as well get excited because it isn't going to change the outcome whether you're excited or not. She said, no, I know you know this. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I did not know that I could be excited because it was going to happen. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I thought, oh my God. And I went home and I got on my little knees, not for any religious thing at all. I couldn't be more anti-religion now. I'm not anti your God. I don't care what you call your God. Just, it's up to you. Just don't push it down my throat, and I won't push mine down yours. It's like the deal. It's sort of like an outside issue to me in AA anyway. Like, whoa. Went to a meeting and they talked about Jesus, and I thought, Jesus! The hell is Jesus isn't here? I'm here. And if you talked about Jesus in 1969, I wouldn't be here. Thank God I never heard the word God for about a month. Now I think, thank you, God, for wiping yourself out. Okay. Control, need to be in balance with that. Got to get the hell out of the way, look at what's in the way, talk to somebody about it so I know the truth, and then the magic starts to happen. Because the minute I know the truth, I can accept whatever it is. I have to accept whatever is going on in my life, no matter what it is. And I have to accept it without condition, without any reservation whatsoever. I have to accept they are dead. The last time I was here, they were dying. Now they're dead. Okay. Nothing I can do about that. They are sick, they are dying, they're not going to change, whatever it is. And I can accept things now. Okay. The minute I can accept something, I got a full understanding of the magnitude, after years of wanting it, of the magnitude of the 7th step. The magnitude. To admit something, to know that it has to be in balance, to get the hell out of the way, to take responsibility and do my part, to talk to somebody and do my part, to accept something and do my part, and then to finally understand why those steps are so meaningful and so easy. Because when I get to 7, I can say, hey, I just got it. I've done all I can do, everything I can do. Will you help me? You being what my consciousness and my experience of God is, and nothing has changed more in my sobriety than that. Will you help me? And sure enough, I get this sense of calm and peace. And then I understand why 8 and 9 follows, because I then have to find out how to live with you in this world. I have never had a problem, no matter how big or how small it may be, that when I don't roll out that roll of yarn, there isn't a person attached to it at the end. So the first paragraph of the 9th step, where it says you have to have these qualities, good judgment, a careful sense of timing, things like that. You should read it. It's good. I don't memorize anything, really. If I memorize it, I'm not going to look again. And these are the qualities you should have, and it will be a lifetime process. And I thought, Christ, it took me 40 years to understand these qualities, let alone to have them. But I practice, you see. I believe in practicing. I hated practicing, but I believe in it. I truly get it. You can't be a violinist if you don't practice every day for hours.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
if you can't experience the spiritual nature of what I want from me, from this great reality deep within, I can't get it up there. I can't continue to have it no matter how many 10 steps I do. I can't have that pause in 11 and that communication with a God of my own understanding. I can't have that great reality deep within do anything for me unless I practice having it, experiencing it, knowing what it's like. And, one day it's like a muscle, this spiritual thing. You do enough wanting, you do enough practicing, you do enough getting to 11, you do enough pausing. And then one day you realize, wow, the Spirit in me, every time I pause, seems to come out a little bit more, not as scary anymore. Working with the Spirit in me. I'm working with myself. I am responsible for that part of it. This isn't magic. It's only magic in the first year or two. We convince you of that. It's our job to ruin your drinking and believe in magic. And then we say, get a sponsor as soon as you can, because eventually we're going to tell you to work those damn steps and create your own magic. And after you're sober long enough, one of us is going to say, oh, come on. Is there anything right about your life? Is there anything right about the people in your life? Do you have any dreams? Do you have any wishes? They will be too small. But they're a start. I don't work the steps for what's wrong with me. I work the steps for what's right about me. I want the steps because I want more of me. I work the steps because when I sit in front of Phyllis and Roz and a few other people in this room, I know what's right about me. I know I'm a kind, compassionate, caring, persevering, honest, faithful person of integrity with tremendous spirituality, a level of acceptance, compassion, and balance. I know that because those are the roots of the tree of the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I know that because I know what it's like to be out of balance, and I practice to try to be in balance so many years. I've given up some of my opinions and not all of them. That's why I find it very hard to listen to a lot of people. Go do something about it. Go study these bloody steps. Go read them. Just read them. Read them. Read that first paragraph of 9 and say, do I have any of that? Some of the time. Would I like more of that? Well, guess what? Go back to 1. It'll walk you through. You'll give it up, You say, I'd like to have that back. I'm going to make a decision to do what? To get the hell out of the way, not to write 60 pages of bullshit that you're going to read again. Go out and do something for yourself. Make a cup of bloody tea. Now, you can only do this if you're in those desert years, like, 15 to 25. When you think, this is not enough, it's not enough, I gotta go. What the hell? I can't stand that person. If I hear them one more time, I'm gonna shoot myself. Oh, you're coming because you're in the habit of coming. Thank God. Thank God. Because if you drink, you're gonna start drinking in your mind way before you take a drink. Oh, you're gonna drink in the meetings, and then all of a sudden you won't be able to hear because you'll be full of judgment. This happens. Judgment and worry. They're just perpetual. And then you won't, you'll hang out in the parking lot with the other losers, and then you'll talk to them on the phone periodically, and then you'll disappear and you'll isolate, and that's what we do. It's a disease of separation. But oh my God, when you find out that the steps are meant to separate not just you, but to join you and you. I use the steps to get in touch with the greatest part of me, the great reality deep within. Jane and I just came back from Ireland. I didn't dream about Ireland. I come from Ireland. I didn't dream about ever owning anything in Ireland. And oh God, I go back to grieve in Ireland. When my business closed 20 years, I went for 6 months and cried every day in the bogs of Ireland. Every time somebody died, I would go home and I would cry and I would feel it. My soul, my spirit landed in Ireland. I'm physically in the United States of America, and as such, I'm a citizen. But my heart and my soul came from Ireland. I never dreamt of anything. We've gone all over the world looking for places. Why live here? And we're out of the country a lot. And this year, to make a long story short in the minute and a half, we bought a place in Ireland. We constructed a place in Ireland. It's in the heart of the Killarney National Park. I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you what it has meant. When Phyllis said to me, get excited, it's not going to matter anyway, it was about the contract for that place. And I went home to Ireland for the last few months. We have been constructing this place, and every single morning I get up so grateful, I cannot tell you how it feels. And I walk across that parking lot of this huge 5-star hotel to our apartment, which is on the ground, so we don't have to worry about it. And I go and I meet with these men who are wonderful, who did a beautiful job. And I believe they did a especially beautiful job because we were there and because we appreciated what they were doing. Because they're Irish. And so I have a place at home that we will be going home to every year for 4 or 5 months. And that's unbelievable. It's a dream I never could dream. And so I had littler dreams. But this one is fulfilling itself. And I am not struck with why that is happening. It is not happening because outside there is money and all of that stuff. It is happening because that is what is giving me peace. And all I pray for now to this God of my own understanding, which, by the way, is the spirits of my ancestors, those grandmothers and my sister and my brother and those other people and my mother, to them, the spirits, the Irish believe in that. So I pray to them. I pray to them for peace, for me, for Jane, and for the people that I love and the people that I care about. I've prayed for Phyllis every single solitary day since her illness, fall, because I told her I would. Every night. That is my life. That is my life. And when it gets out of balance, I know what to do. And I have now come to a point where when I pause in that 11th step, I understand 12. Because my pause, if I do it properly and spiritually within the guidelines of Alcoholics Anonymous, that pause will allow the Spirit in me to precede me. And when it precedes me, perhaps the Spirit in you will precede you. And then we understand. And that's the magic that people that have been sober a long time have with one another, and why we go to the meetings where we all sit. Because the Spirit within us precedes ourselves, and we know that. We don't have to work on it. We can feel it, we know it. May the rest of you always have that, or get it, or wish for it, and work for it. Thank you. John?
Thank you, Lila. Would you define the desert years? You said they were between 15 and 25. Basically, would you define them as not knowing who you were and not being able to find any purpose or
Okay.
any existence? Can you
Yes.
expand on that a little bit?
John's question is, could I define the desert years, something between 15 and 25? I think it's getting a little younger now because people are far more progressive in AA. Might be earlier, but anyway, the desert years. You know what they are? I think the desert years are when your soul sickness really, actually, you stay sober long enough to find out how sick you really are. And consequently, the soul sickness that is the nature of who we are, that is why we do the steps, that is a spiritual remedy that we must have, then that is what happens in those desert years. And it's such a foreign thing because you think, what is the matter with me? Am I depressed? Well, I never, whatever. I'm never good enough. I'll never be good enough. All the things that occur during that time. Well, why wouldn't they occur? You know, they come at different stages for all of us because every person is a snowflake in here. They're all genuinely different. So, you know, what's happening to you does not have 10 years this happens. No, it doesn't. It's bullshit. At 10 years, maybe coincidentally, you ran into the other 10-year guy because he came up and talked to you. That's how the coincidences happen. But the fact is, the majority have no coincidence, no identification. You identify with yourself, and then you find the experience, and people will come out of the woodwork for you. It's when you absolutely have to have the steps, when you know that it's not enough, when you know that if you don't go back to the beginning of this program and find another way to work it, you're going to leave. And if you leave, you will die, and you may not be fortunate enough to die. Most of us are too young and too bloody healthy to die. You might just be out there a drunken man or a woman, and you will get the bridge and you will get the bag, even if it's in your own mind. So those are the desert years. Those are the years when you go back to the book and you read it as the sober alcoholic that you are, and you find the promises and you identify with the jaywalker. Come on. I was a jaywalker up until like a couple of weeks ago. Over and over and over and over and over. What the hell is that? You know what I mean? Do the same thing, whatever. So it's all in there. But I don't read it as a drunk. I read it as a sober person. And then I go into that 12 and 12 like the desperate. I remember being desperate. Because if it didn't work, I didn't think I could stay. And then I found other people that wanted to talk about that spiritual thing. And they told me about the spiritual malady that people like us have. Oh, not everybody. Not everybody can deal with it. There's groups of people out there that don't want to deal with it. That's fine. Everything works in AA. There's room for everybody. We all belong. This is a mosaic of perfection. I don't judge anybody that's different than I am. I just don't have anything to do with them, but I don't judge them. My way is a spiritual way. I know about this spiritual malady. It hits at that time. I have not met one member of AA who has a spiritual energy that has not had it. Oh, you guys are really, that's the last question. Very sorry. That's got the sign. Go ahead.
As you have time and you're experiencing this great transformation in your life and this greatness, have you experienced uncertainty with that? And I've been sober for a while, so great shifts happening, but there's a level of uncertainty that's very uncomfortable.
Got it.
Can you talk about
Yeah.
some steps you use for that?
Now that I'm going through this big change, having had them before, am I experiencing some level of discomfort and all that, uncertainty in relationship to that? No, not this time. All the other times, I've had about 10 shifts, maybe more. Yes. Why not this time? I'm not scaring myself this time. I'm not looking at what's wrong with it this time. I'm not looking at what the problems could be this time. I'm looking at how to make a good thing better. I'm not looking at what's wrong. This time I refuse to harm myself. I refuse to harm myself. So yes, all that negative train, gone. Don't allow it. One thought that's negative, my responsibility. Two thoughts, gotta go. And it does not happen. I will do something contrary. I don't care if I have to get down on my knees in a public bathroom. I will not allow myself to harm myself. So yes, this time I am experiencing the absolute wonder of having lived this life, having made so many mistakes, having walked on the backs of great people, having learned from others, and having been a really good, considerate person to the best of my ability each and every day. Well, guess what? I want the benefit from that. I'm done. I am done with the people that take from me and that I don't want to give to. I need to give to myself, and I need to give to the people that love me and the people around me. And I need to make my life as comfortable in every single way that I can. So I drive a nice car that runs well. We have a nice house that's well maintained. We have food in the refrigerator because I'm a comfort eater. You know, whatever. That's the answer to your question. So no, not this time. It's a change in perception. It's the biggest miracle of my life that I can use the steps to improve what is already there and not try to build something or get an answer. I am uninterested in the answer. I would never have gotten an answer like Ireland, where my soul lives. I would have never gotten it. I live in the solution. The solution is not the answer. The solution is how to live your life a day at a time to make room for whatever answer comes about. And then to be prepared for what alcoholics cannot do, which is to receive that answer. Because to receive the love that is within us for ourselves and for others, the magnitude of that, it's overwhelming. Thank you.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom?